So joining me now to talk the state of crypto is Geoff Morphy, CEO of Bitfarms. Geoff, welcome.
Hi, Kristen. Thanks for having me.
All right, so you've got a unique position, obviously very in tune to the crypto market. What is driving this momentum of late, and can it continue?
Oh, it can continue, but what's really driving it right now is the excitement from the American ETFs coming on. Just the demand that they're bringing to the market is unlike anything that's been in existence in the history of Bitcoin since 2009. It's that demand that's fueling it, and with diminished supply coming along with the halving, it really sets up for what should be a wonderful year and wonderful number of years.
Walk us through what the halving entails and how your company takes part in that.
Oh, sure. The halving takes place based on the protocols that were designed by Satoshi back in 2009. So to force the industry to continue to adapt, to innovate, and to become more efficient, every 4 years, the block rewards or the subsidies that the whole software provides to us gets chopped in half. So originally there was 50 Bitcoin that were awarded for every block that was solved, and that was back in 2009. And then it successively, every approximately 4 years, chopped in half. So it went from 50 to 25 to 12 and a half to 6.25, where we are now for the last 4 years. And in mid-April, it's going to move to 3 1/8. And so it forces all the miners basically to have the same inputs that we had before in terms of electricity, our overheads, and things like that. But now our revenues, which is basically earned in Bitcoin, will be chopped in half. So it just forces us to be that much more efficient and do a number of other things. And the second part of your question, you asked, what are we doing about it? Well, we in November, we made a major announcement for a transformational fleet upgrade where we're buying a whole bunch of approximately 64,000 in total, made up of initial order of 36,000 miners, plus an option for 28,000 more at a very good price. These new series of miners are ultra efficient, so we're going to be able to replace our old miners with much more efficient new miners that uses a lot less electricity and pushes out more. So the efficiency's there. Plus, we continue to endeavor to find new locations with lower cost electricity, and that's so critical to the longevity of our company and the industry as well.
How do you maintain, or at least try to maintain, a level of evenness and steadiness in what is generally a volatile industry, if that is a goal of yours, Geoff?
It is a volatile industry. We deal in a commodity where there's incredible ups and incredible downs, and you need some pretty thick skin on some days to do that. But just like any other commodity industry, it's important to keep your costs and your overheads down. So even when prices go down, you're managing positive cash flow. And when things get really exciting and things go up and prices are up and margins are up, then you're absolutely bringing the best possible returns to shareholders by enhanced cash flow. So it's running a lean and mean operation, and I think that's what we do. And frankly, we've been around for 6 years. And we've learned from the last halving, being one of the sole survivors of that halving when things were a lot different. And, they didn't have the ETFs supercharging the market, but we need to be very, very efficient. And that's what we've really driven our last 4 years towards.
What does this mean for Bitcoin owners, people who own the cryptocurrency outright or invest in it?
Well, the whole ecosystem just continues to adapt and evolve. So with the advent of the ETFs, it's given people public traded vehicles for going in and out of Bitcoin very easily. That's really opened itself up for institutional adoption, but it's also made it easier for a number of other investors to get a piece of Bitcoin and share in the future of Bitcoin. You can also buy Bitcoin yourself. Some people find that additional complexity to be too much for them, but other people feel very comfortable when they can put their own Bitcoin in their own wallet and know exactly where they are. For the Bitcoin miners, we are part of that ecosystem. We are the utility that makes it work, but it also offers asymmetrical upside and asymmetrical downside to it, because like as you look at our stock performance, generally when Bitcoin goes up or down, we go up or down 3 times more. We've got a 3 beta associated with our stock performance. So if people want to get in and think that Bitcoin's going up, then having exposure to the Bitcoin miners will help get outsized upside if they really believe in Bitcoin.
Realistically, when it comes to mining, how much can be done to lessen the load on the environment?
Well, quite a bit. In the past, a lot of the miners went for coal-sourced electricity and things like that. With the growth of the industry now and the importance of renewables, most of the miners are very much plunging forward with demand response programs, with starting to take some exposure to wind, um, to various things. For us, we started in province Quebec using on exclusively hydro. We moved to Washington as well, which is largely hydro. We're also located in Paraguay, which is exclusively hydro, and that's one of the areas where we're really growing. And then we're in Argentina that uses natural gas. But predominantly, we use renewable hydroelectricity, which is great because it comes 24 hours a day. So we're able to keep our machines running with incredible uptime. And part of that's because of the use of renewables, and renewables are important. I think you're going to see probably more adoption of nuclear going forward and less to natural gas and certainly less to coal.
Interesting. When it comes to mining, what is your position in the U.S. versus other miners around the world? We had seen at one point, obviously, there was a lot of mining happening in Asia and China specifically, but certainly that seems to have tapered off over the past few years.
Yes. We have an operation in Washington State right now. It's about 20 megawatts. It's not one of our bigger hubs, but we have been very much searching for an acquisition in the U.S. that adopts some of the business criteria that we really like, plus which is low cost energy, preferably renewable, and hopefully in a demand response environment. So we're very much looking to expand our presence in the United States, but we're also, like everything else we do, we're disciplined. So it needs to be at the right price, it needs to be the right conditions, but we're ready and actively looking for more presence in the United States. We want to have a North American hub and a South American hub, perhaps another hub going forward, which will in time be approximately the same size to diversify our risk into multiple markets.
Can you name specific operations or companies on your radar?
Suffice it to say, there's a number of private and public companies out there that we think would be good combination partners for us.
Interesting. Well, I do want to talk about what our viewers should expect right around some of these halving events. You'd kind of run through what usually happens, but if someone does own Bitcoin or if they invest in cryptocurrency, maybe they have access to one of these ETFs, what do they need to know around these events?
Well, all we can do is look at the past number of cycles, these 4-year cycles that we were talking about, and what's happened in the past. And if the past is any indication for future performance, then typically we will see a bit of a rally in March leading up to the halving. The halving is supposed to be sort of approximately April the 16th, depends on how quickly the blocks are being solved. And then there's an adjustment period that generally goes for about 5 months after the halving takes place. That adjustment period, usually Bitcoin price stays relatively flat or moves up a little bit. I think this year is going to be a little bit different because of its presidential year. At some point, interest rates are going to get reduced, which brings more money into risk assets. Plus, you have this whole ETF phenomena going on where there's more demand going in and there's going to be less supply. So I think there should be some pretty favorable market conditions for Bitcoin price to appreciate. And then what you've seen in the last 4-year cycles is approximately 5 months after the Bitcoin halving takes place, then a bull run starts taking place. The bull run generally lasts for about 15 to 18 months, and generally the price goes up in multiples of what it was in the past. So that's where the real excitement is. So there's a lot of things that we're doing this year to get ready for this, and a lot of expansion, the biggest expansion in our history. But then in 2025, it should be an incredibly robust year if past cycles are any indication.
Well, we were just showing a 6-month chart, Geoff, and certainly up double digits. It's been a very strong 6 months for Bitcoin, pretty strong for the overall stock market as well, up 88%, 51,000 roughly a piece on Bitcoin. I know you're optimistic, Geoff, based on what you're telling me. Can it reach 100,000? And if so, when?
Well, generally we try to stay out of the crystal ball business here, but I read all the analysts' comments, and yes, I think 100,000 is very much achievable. Whether it happens this year, I don't know. I think there's a good chance that it does, but certainly next year it should, by all means, and I think it could hit a lot higher than that.
All right, Geoff Morphy, CEO of Bitfarms. Geoff, thank you so much for joining.